Depot Devoid.
Depot Devoid!
Depot Devoid.
Welcome back to Depot Devoid. I'm Ted Fagan.
And I am Matt Fagan.
And Matt Fagan is here to drag our mom's ass.
So apparently I've just discovered that Ted has never heard mom claim that she has to eat gluten-free because of celiac, which is something that she's been claiming at least since I moved to town, which was in 2014. And yeah, so that's she's been claiming that I made her the last time, among the last times that I had contact with her, for her birthday the previous year before I stopped dealing with that shit. I even made her a bunch of fucking gluten-free crust mini pies, like 24 of them in various flavors. Which were a huge fucking pain in the ass and required extensive research and testing because I don't fucking bake gluten-free shit. And I did this knowing that it's complete bullshit. Like, she pretends that she has celiac because her husband has celiac.
And I know that Alden theoretically has celiac disease, but I didn't know that our mom was saying she did too.
Yeah, I assumed that she said this to everyone, but maybe she just tried it out on me because I was new.
That's probably it.
And I never called her out on the complete nonsense. I mean, it's clearly ridiculous. but yeah, she straight up said that.
And see, my wife is allergic to most nuts, and so I don't eat them, so I don't murder her with my face. But I don't say I'm allergic to nuts.
It's because you are also allergic to nuts. That's what marriage is. Remember back in season 6 of The Simpsons, when it was the Who Shot Mr. Burns 2-part episode, they found Simpson DNA at the crime scene. And that's how they knew that one of the Simpsons was the criminal involved. And Marge, of course, wanted to volunteer an alibi, and Lisa reminded her that of course she was a Bouvier. It doesn't have Simpson DNA. But no, Marge says, when I married your father, I took his DNA just as I took his name. And that is exactly where she is. Yep, she took his values and his diseases and anything else he had to offer.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. It infested her like a Lovecraftian horror.
Yes, she is nearly unrecognizable now.
The doom that came to Mama.
And that brings us to Batman, the doom that came to Gotham.
Yeah, well, let's quickly run down how we got here. There was a bit circuitous our route for arriving at the brand relatively new, like March of this year. I think this thing came out.
It was Prohibition time.
It was an animated feature that came out on HBO Max now, I guess. This is an adaptation of an actual 3-issue comic book miniseries. It's one of those Elseworlds stories where they tell and retell the stories of our popular DC superheroes with fabulous crazy twists, like one of the most famous ones being Gotham by Gaslight, which is what if Jack the Ripper came to Gotham after he left London in 1888, and then Batman had to fight Jack the Ripper in the 1800s. That sort of nonsense. Ted texted me the other day asking about the movie From Beyond, foolishly thinking that there might by some chance be a possibility that I had not seen it. And as I told him, he was going to have to try a lot harder if we wanted to find a Jeffrey Combs movie that I hadn't seen. Jeffrey Combs, of course, is the world's greatest mad scientist.
Well, only in lack of presence
Dr.
of
Herbert
Ian
West
now.
from Re-Animator. Well, yeah, I'm sure that Ian would have rightfully challenged him to that mantle at some point. I love Jeffrey Combs, and I love Lovecraft shit for a lot of reasons. But Re-Animator was awesome. From Beyond was awesome. Ted was like, of course you've seen that, because of course I've seen that. So I started scrolling through Jeffrey Combs's IMDb page just out of curiosity. And pretty much anything worth seeing I had already seen. But this is a man whose career has often come back to Lovecraft, because he made a huge splash in Re-Animator, which is one of the most successful Lovecraft adaptations, although like most Lovecraft adaptations, it is pretty fast and loose with the actual material. But this was a movie, I figured it's brand new, so neither one of us is going to have seen it. And I predicted it might not be great. And I was not disappointed in terms of the prediction. Perhaps was disappointed in terms of what we got. But Ted, how your Lovecraft knowledge? Did you read Lovecraft back in the day?
Yeah.
And when did you like how are your feelings about Lovecraft and Lovecraft adaptations? Because I was hoping that regardless of the quality of this movie, it was, of course, the best possible way to get into a broader conversation about Lovecraft is through the genius machinations of the Doom that came to Gotham. So what do you feel generally about Lovecraft, his stories? Are you a fan? What don't you like? And are there good movies that you've seen besides Re-Animator?
Okay, so let's start at Re-Animator and be like, oh, hey, Matt, remember me? There's a lot of things I haven't watched. I saw part of 3 Re-Animator films, I believe, but I didn't see the movies. It was when Ian was watching them when we were little, and I fell asleep or had other shit I was doing. H.P. Lovecraft. Much like Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft is a terrible author who has some really fun ideas. Unlike Stephen King, who will banter on for 50 fucking goddamn pages that contain 3 paragraphs no shorter than 3 pages long in those first 50 pages of The Stand, the unabridged version. H.P. Lovecraft will instead say, oh, but just imagine the most terrible thing in your mind, because I can't possibly blather on for 3 pages about a hare.
Ed, it's indescribable. The horror is indescribable.
Tell that to fucking Stephen King and see what you get.
Do you think Stephen King was just trying to describe what Lovecraft wouldn't? Is that his motivation in verbosity is just like, all right, Lovecraft, I'll tell you what's indescribable. Nothing.
I think that neither of them is or ever would have become a good writer. They've got great ideas for the most part. I mean, I really appreciate the concepts that they bring to the table. Yes, they themselves, however, do not execute the actual story writing in a way that I find pleasurable.
I absolutely agree. I think that with both of those writers, there are exceptions. For the most part, I find Stephen King really frustrating and annoying. There's some interesting stories, but reading them makes me mad. Lovecraft, I guess, because most of Lovecraft stories are, from like the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, because he beefed it when he was 42, just like Ian.
Yes, I approach them in a different way. So I guess because they're so much older, like what I'm willing to accept as quality writing is a little bit different than it would be with Stephen King.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to accept the fact that there's a little bit of racism
When
hanging out.
I'm much more. Yeah, he is super fucking racist. That Lovecraft, not Stephen King. I think Stephen King's probably a great person. Um, Lovecraft is racist as shit. I have I do I okay, full disclosure. I for the first time have come prepared with nothing. I took zero notes. I was going to go back and look at this thing again today. The day kind of got away with from me. Also kind of wasn't that I figure I gave it as much attention as it really deserved.
Yeah.
We will circle around and get back to this movie. But I had a documentary back when I had the shop in Chicago about Lovecraft, and there was a moment in this documentary that really stuck with me because I mean his racism is really well known. This is a well documented phenomenon. It is sometimes extraordinarily clear in his stories, at other times less so. But there was a passage. They're reading this passage about like these, the throngs of deformed hordes, and it's basically it sounds like a passage out of one of his stories of people devolving because they've interbred with fish gods from beneath the sea kind of thing. But what it actually, suddenly they contextualize it, and it's just one of his published personal letters to one of his friends, and he's talking about the immigrants on the sidewalk below his window when he was staying in New York. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy is a huge piece of shit. But also, this is not a forgiveness in any way, but it's noting, I would say it's pretty probable that if it, like, a lot of his best work would never have existed without his extreme xenophobia. Like that idea, like that fear of things outside of himself, and that fear that he might not be as important as he fancies himself to be. That informed so much of his work and so much of what is interesting about what he left behind. So yay racism. Thanks for the horrors.
My most familiar story, or the story that I recall the most anyway, that he wrote was The Lurking Fear. And
okay, which one is that? I love so many of his stories, but other than like the Call of Cthulhu, which is pretty obvious, like the names are so interchangeable.
Yeah, what I remember most about that one was it involved like a mansion somewhere or a big house, and the mystery that they were investigating that resulted in them finding a family of inbreeding people who had been inbreeding under the house forever.
Yes.
And
there's a terrible film version of that with Jeffrey Combs in it.
Oh yeah?
I think it's in the folder I sent you.
That's hilarious. I'll have to check that out.
Look for that. Look for that.
Yes, I do recall that there is a film in there called The Lurking Fear. I saw that and thought, wonder if that's H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, it is. It is from the producer of Puppet Master.
Yep.
Yes, it is Jeffrey Combs in it's been a while, but I assume like probably pretty loose adaptation of The Lurking Fear. But yeah, that is in there.
Now, better than H.P. Lovecraft, better than this movie that we haven't even started speaking on. When I was reading The Lurking Fear, I had a dream one night. And in my dream, I ended up going down this stone staircase, and it was a really, really good, vivid dream. Go down this stone staircase, and I go into this room, and there are a bunch of people in there with robes. And for whatever reason, they are trying to usher me forward towards this thing rather than push me out, even though I and they know that I am not supposed to be there. They're ushering me towards this, and as I get closer, I realize there's what appears to be a stone altar with some interesting drawings and carvings on it. But the closer I get to it, I realize that it's just flesh that's on the stone altar. And the flesh begins to pull up and off some of it goes together and other parts hang away from one another. And then as it starts to come up, I see a face and other little bits. And one of the people in robes puts another robe over this thing. And as it takes like at least full human standing size, I die.
Nice.
It was way cooler than this movie, and probably The Lurking.
Yeah, this movie is maybe not the best Lovecraft there's ever, but honestly, it's also not the worst. Like, there's some really shitty Lovecraft adaptations out there. This is kind of like, I feel like I was pretty accurate in my prediction that this was basically just a pastiche of Lovecraftian ideas. There's a lot of name checking of little things that you recognize from various Lovecraft stories if you read a lot of Lovecraft. None of it is really developed in a particularly interesting way. There's some stuff that kind of stood out that was, maybe, more, some of it was more successful than others, but it was honestly, like, I was surprised at how, like, a worse movie would have been less boring, like, I was, like, my mind wandered a lot, because it was just so sort of meh, and it wasn't bad enough to be that interesting. Like, at the beginning, when you get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Penguins, I was like thinking, oh, maybe this is gonna, like, get weird, but it never really got that weird even.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great Batman story, and it wasn't a great Lovecraft story.
Yeah, here's where I came into it. I absolutely did no looking into what this was. I just started it.
I didn't before I started.
The title was kind of fun. Thought, let's see what this turns out to be. And then I wrote down, I didn't expect an eldritch horror. Then I wrote, I fell asleep, woke up, virus, rewound it. And then the Lovecraft of it all is fun. And there's absolutely no notes that I took until Green Arrow is wasted.
Yeah. I find that a lot of, I looked it up later and figured it, because I figured there was probably a pretty good chance this was based on an actual comic, like an actual Elseworlds story, because I've read a lot of Elseworlds stories, and this was I think originally written by Mike Mignola, the guy who did Hellboy, and also is the guy responsible for Gotham by Gaslight, which is one of the first, if not the first, of the like actual like Elseworlds imprint stories where they're like where a lot of these were done in like a prestige format, like if it not in a single issue, then it like a mini series, and they were like sort of gorgeous, unusual artwork, and some of them were pretty fancy. This one just looked, it was really by the numbers, like, and also with a lot of these, your interest is going to depend on how interested you are in the DC characters that they're utilizing. And most of these characters, like, I mean, I like Batman, that's fine. Like, that's, but a lot of these characters, I don't care about Green Arrow. I'm not, like, yes, I know who the Demon Etrigan is. I don't really care. Like, I'm not a Ra's al Ghul fan. Like, none of these characters really hold my interest outside of this, so they're not really pulling me into this story.
Yeah.
I liked hearing Jeffrey Combs' voice.
Oh, that's nice. I did not get the impression that this story was intended to be a Batman story at all. It felt to me very much like somebody came to the table with, hey, I've got this idea for a Lovecraftian horror, and someone was like, yeah, that sucks. That's not a good story. Can you Batman it a little, maybe? And they were like, oh yeah, I know what a Batman is. Let me pull out some names. Like, hey, Ra's al Ghul, he was his ninja master. What the fuck is this bullshit? How did
he's a cult leader now?
Yeah, but how?
Here's what I think happened is that they came to Mike. This I don't know who the other guy is, but there were two writers credited in the original comic. Mike Mignola, the Hellboy guy, is one of them. My guess is that they went to him to try to whip this thing into shape to do their Elseworld story, because Hellboy has a lot of Lovecrafty elements in some of the comics. And so they know Mike Mignola writes all of those, and so they knew that he has some skill at that, and I think they brought him in to try to give it some shape and structure, and he probably made it better than it would have been otherwise. But I feel like he probably didn't care that much about what he was doing, and I don't think it doesn't think anybody really cared that much about it. It's just if you are sort of interested in Lovecraft but haven't like seen any movies or read any books, this is a nice little primer, I guess, of Lovecraftian ideas if you don't know any of them.
Yeah, sure. If you can melt Mr. Freeze and somehow out of his jizz puddle poison ivy gets birthed, why not?
That is exactly how it happened in the Silver Age. That was actually like more interesting than most of the things that happened in this movie.
It sucked. It really did. I mean, none of it came together. I mean, they had a story that wasn't a Batman story, and then the story that they told by throwing Batman in was more convoluted and took away from the story that they were trying to tell.
Well, here's something that I thought would have been more interesting, because really this just all you're doing is taking Batman and sticking him into a sort of Lovecrafty story, which is, I mean, fine, but I don't care. What would have been more interesting, I thought, like I was watching this and thinking, how could I be less bored? Would be, what if the idea of Batman had been created by H.P. Lovecraft at the time that he was doing this stuff with the Cthulhu mythos? Like, that would have been, like, I would have liked to see like how you could reinterpret the whole basic Batman mythology through the same guy who was creating Cthulhu. I would have loved to have seen it, but this was just a straight up like, this is just the regular Batman story. Like, there was nothing unusual about Bruce or his origin in this. He was just the same guy, and that didn't really seem that interesting.
And he bails on Gotham for 20 years and we don't even fucking know what that's about, and he just shows back up and fighting monsters.
Yeah, well, he did. It was also kind of weird that he had never this was like a Batman had never been introduced to Gotham before. Like, that was the only thing that was different about if you sort of think of this as an origin story. But he didn't really feel like, he felt like an established personality, like, yeah. He wasn't Batman year one. Like, he was just like regular Bruce.
Yeah.
He certainly didn't seem estranged or particularly driven, which again, like, Lovecraft wrote about a lot of like insane, obsessed people, which is what Bruce can be. And there was none of that there. There was none of that, like, let's apply these ideas to Bruce Wayne and make him a different kind of person, until they made him into a monster, which, I mean...
Well, it was embarrassing, honestly, that they even tried to do that without it being special in any way, that he realizes that the world is not the way that he perceived it. He was like, oh, okay, it is like that. Let's do a ritual. Done. I got it.
It was
Batman.
Everything sort of played out like it was so ABC, it was surprisingly unengaging and not really inventive. And you've got a lot to work with Lovecraft source material. And again, like, I thought the opening was all right with the party that's gone insane in the arch. Like, it all like that was some good stuff, some Mountains of Madness kind of starting point. that it just never got better than that.
No, and even when they finally like try to pull off their twist,
It was a twist.
they tried to pull off a twist and like make it weirder and somehow still connected to all this bullshit. Green Arrow is a fucking Templar Knight?
Yeah, that was
What the fuck were they
yeah.
thinking?
Yeah, and that was like that all seems sort of unnecessary anyway, and because it's like there that this is elder god shit. Like you guys are pointless here.
Yeah. No, it was
Like, what a waste.
none of it was good. There were just so many points that they fell short on throughout the entirety of it, where it's like, there wasn't a lot of meat on these bones, but you could have put a little bit more there.
And I didn't care enough to even, other than wishing that I had a better, like a different perspective on the Batman character altogether. Like I didn't even find myself trying to fix what I was watching, which is what I usually do. It just like I just kind of didn't care.
Yeah.
And I wished that I did. Because it's a formula that could work.
Yeah.
And some of these Elseworld stories are really interesting. Like there are some pretty famous ones that like they endure because they're really good ideas. Like a Superman Red Sun. Like what the one that's about what if the rocket that brought Kal-El to Earth had landed in Soviet Russia and he had been raised by a completely different set of values. Like there's some good enduring Elseworld story, and this one was just like it didn't seem like anybody loved it enough to nurture a good product out of it. It didn't seem like whoever came up with this idea didn't care about it, and the people who were executing it didn't particularly care about it either.
Yeah, it really did not feel like it was supposed to be either of these things, and then somebody just slapped them together and said, "Okay."
But I'll also
Marvel
say, like, and I don't want to
1612.
I don't want to say like this isn't all bad. Like this is like it's good to look at. Like it's not a poorly animated movie. It's a well-directed movie. The voice cast does a good job. Like I'm completely on board with most of the technical aspects of this movie. Like it's a good looking feature. I just don't care about what's happening, and I've definitely seen it's no Re-Animator. It's not even From Beyond.
Yeah.
You should definitely we need to do some Re-Animating and some From Beyond in. Like if you're gonna limit yourself to stuff that neither one of us has seen, like you're never gonna see Jeffrey Combs.
And I'd be down with Re-Animator. He was also in that one movie with Michael J. Fox where he cut off his nipples, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
That's
I really enjoyed that movie too. The Frighteners, yeah.
I saw that once at the drive-in theater the summer it came out.
It's super fun. It's Peter Jackson. It's the guy who brought you Dead Alive and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Somehow this does not surprise me with the memories that I have.
Yeah, it's some good shit. And I made Bill watch it because I love Jeffrey Combs, and most movies that have Jeffrey Combs in them are things that Bill would never watch in a million years. So I was like, oh, here's one where he's like super weird, but it's like not really disgusting. So Bill will watch it. Because the Re-Animator movies, while really fun, are pretty gross, and he would not be on board with that.
Yeah, and again, I didn't watch enough of the Re-Animator movies to really tell you much of anything other than you can inject green fluid into bits, and somehow now you have an eyeball that runs around with fingers. Okay,
that's all you really need to know, Ted. I don't. What more do you want?
I don't know, but somehow
this
has me thinking
isn't
about
rocket science.
It's true. Yeah, it's got me thinking about Frankenhooker now.
It's yeah. Frankenhooker owes a pretty big debt to Re-Animator.
Well, yeah.
They're both wonderful. Frankenhooker is the more approachable movie for Bill because all of the chopped up body parts are sort of dry and rubbery.
Yeah.
Not nearly as disgusting.
Have you presented that to Bill?
I made him watch Frankenhooker. I personally like to do that as a double feature with Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, but I didn't make him watch that.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
It's terrible. It's really like the title is better than the movie. It's the complete opposite of Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death, where the movie is as good as the title.
Mm.
I mean, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers does in fact deliver Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, but you don't care that much. It does have Linnea Quigley performing the virgin dance of the double chainsaws.
I don't know
Which
what
may or may
Jennifer
not be
Quigley
worth
is.
the price of admission. She's one of those horror queens that shows up in horror things. Do you remember Return of the Living Dead? Did you ever see that?
I know I saw it.
It's a tongue-in-cheek zombie movie from like 1985.
Basically, the only woman I'm going to remember from that at all is when the boyfriend is a zombie and he's like, "Come on, babe."
Oh
Just a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bite.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
yeah, that's not her, but that's one of the best parts. She's one of the punk girls.
All right.
She's she gets chewed up by some crusty old zombie dudes after fantasizing about getting chewed up by some crusty old zombie dudes.
Gross.
She's pretty into it. Her name was Trash, I think.
Even better.
Trash or Suicide. They all had names like that. I don't remember which one she was off the top of my head. We should do that though. That's a really good movie. It's way better than this movie.
It's not a high bar.
No, not as Lovecrafty.
No.
So do we have more to say about this? I feel like
I do have a little bit more to say,
Okay,
so I
so-
think that we're going to need to take a short break and come
all right,
back.
I'm gonna refill my coffee then.
All right.
Refill it with tentacles and Abdul Allah's Reds.
And just hope nobody starts a curing all over it. It's gross.
All right, I'll be right back.
Hello, and welcome back to Coffee Talk. It's me, Bob Wawawa, and my guest tonight, Jeff Combs. Jeff, can you tell me about your recent animated movie?
I gave it life.
Was it A Good Wife?
Gave it life.
There you go. That's a Batman movie.
that was almost as good as the movie.
It came really close, and if we could do it like that on the fly, holy shit. Imagine if we tried to write ourselves a Batman movie. Good God.
Imagine if we had a team of animators at our disposal.
They don't even animate anymore. That shit's for the 80s.
Well,
They
I
just
don't think
use
anybody
computers.
cell animates, unfortunately.
Just computers.
I don't think they even make the cells anymore.
Yeah, I don't believe so. It's an entirely different creature. All right, so basically what I've got left to say about this movie is just how embarrassing it all was. I mean, starting, I mentioned the Green Arrow is a Templar.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Why?
That honestly, like, that felt the least like it had any business being there. It didn't feel like part of a Lovecraft story, and it didn't feel like part of a Batman story.
No, not at all. And I mean, Oliver Queen, he's kind of been around a bit.
Well, I mean, again, this is an alternate history. So, but what was weird
Yeah.
is because his story is so different from the traditional Oliver Queen story, but Bruce's is basically the same. So it's like his feels more wrong because it's like the biggest deviation.
Or are you sure about that? Because Two-Face became Two-Face because he rubbed some bad lotion on.
Yeah, but honestly, that was like my favorite part of the movie.
When he became the wall and the door and rubbed
Yeah,
some bad lotion on his face.
that was cool. I was fine with that. That was the least annoying thing that happened.
Even up there with Barbara Gordon is the Oracle because ghosts.
Yeah, she was doing a different Lovecraft story. I think that one was Cool Air, maybe. Um, Honestly, I kind of tuned out during that part. Like, I saw the Lovecraft story that they were doing, and I was like, really? You're like shoehorning this in here? And I kind of checked out for a minute.
Yeah. And then old Brucey talks to his ghost dad, who's like, "Oh, by the way, I was born in the 1500s, bud,
Yeah,
and we did some stuff with a ghosty boo, and I knew it was gonna happen."
that all. I mean, yes, that stuff has sort of. There are origins in Lovecraft for doing that, and there are also origins in Batman for doing that. Um, but it still felt like it didn't feel like a comfortable fit. Um, like it was like there are definitely the whole Lovecraft loves the town with a secret kind of idea,
Yeah,
and so that's all good. And they've been increasingly leaning on and developing the Court of Owls kind of stuff in
I was
Batman
disappointed that the
comics.
Quarter Owls didn't show up.
I think that this specific story actually might slightly predate the Court of Owls. Um, on it, like it's sort of surprising that they didn't like change it for the movie to include them. But yeah, I mean, it felt like that was almost something that could have worked, but just didn't. They didn't figure it out.
Yeah, and here's a real clincher for me. And I don't care who wrote this, who did what with it. Here's the thing. Bruce Wayne is talking to his ghost dad, who sees him and knows what he's doing. And he doesn't say, "Son, what are you doing with your life?" I mean, this is not healthy. It's not sane. You need some help.
Okay, obviously those things are true, but um think about who you're expecting those words from. You're talking about a man who has just told a story about how they've sold out an entire town's souls for hundreds of years. Um, the guy probably doesn't have a lot of great advice to offer. He's he's a monster.
Yeah, but he should have prepared his son for selling people's souls and been like, "Hey, come on, get with the program. What are you thinking?"
Maybe he's just like, it's madness. Madness is great.
Yeah,
I mean, Bruce is crazy. They're all
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, maybe he gave him the bad advice because he didn't expect him to do anything good because he's a fucking nut job.
It's yeah, that is definitely one of the things that I honestly I did think it almost worked. Um, Maybe it's better in the comics. I haven't read the comics. I don't really care to at this point. Um, it all felt really perfunctory. Like no, again, like it felt like nobody cared enough to really do anything about it. Um, and I was there for it. I would have followed them if they wanted to go someplace weird. I would rather them do something weird and fail at it than do something like that never took any particular risks, which is what this felt like. Sort of undeveloped, and it wasn't exciting or scary, and
Yeah.
it should have been at least one of those things. Lovecraft stories are generally not like super action packed, so that, I mean, maybe they didn't know how to make those two things work together.
And then Bruce Wayne had to die to become what he truly is.
I guess, whatever, fucking
And then
Ultraman.
he's just a goddamn bat, sort of human shape that just hangs around in the dark and does what?
He's the man bat.
Yeah, but what does he do? What's he
I
gonna
don't
do?
know. I wasn't paying attention.
Is he gonna save the day, or is he gonna eat people? What
He's
do we
gonna
got?
he's gonna yeah, he's gonna be around to, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he will sire a race of endlessly devolving man bat hybrids that will gradually move into the caves, the network of caves below Gotham that centers below Wayne Manor.
And he's
And
not
then
even going to use all of his money to make it better.
They will be the lurking fear. That will be the sequel.
Right. But I mean, they didn't even give you any idea of where
the
this is
sequel will
going to
be
go.
The Dark Knight Returns, except it's the lurking fear.
That would be way better than the Dark Knight movies. Oh, Christopher Nolan.
But yeah, I didn't really expect much from this, and I didn't get much. It did do, like, it made me kind of want to read Lovecraft again, and I pulled out like I have a couple of Lovecraft collections still, and that's the best part about this, is that it made me think, oh, you know what, I should read a couple of Lovecraft stories, and maybe watch Re-Animator, and yeah, I just enjoy some some better versions of these. I actually also have I have some interesting DVDs of like short films and independent productions, like different adaptations of Lovecraft stories, some of which are actually pretty good. There was like a Lovecraft Society that like helped distribute a bunch of these projects and funded some of them through DVD sales. And there were some cool ones. And also their biggest one was it wasn't like a feature length, but like a old-fashioned short feature length adaptation of The Call of Cthulhu. But the conceit of it was that it was as if The Call of Cthulhu had been adapted into a film the same year that the story was published, which was like 1928. So it's like a black and white, silent, like probably maybe 50-minute feature, which was like pretty cool and interesting, like very like old-fashioned filmmaking techniques. It's probably shot on digital video, but it was done as close to mimicking the old way of doing things. Like you would see like because a lot of it takes place on a ship, and so you'll have like the prow of the ship built in, and then it's surrounded by like black velvet that people off camera or are lifting and lowering to mimic the flow of the water, and it's very like cool, fun filmmaking done clearly with a lot of love, trying to bring this to the screen. Way more interesting stuff than you get here.
Yeah.
I was just trying to find out if that was streamable anywhere, but it doesn't look like it's super easy to find.
Oh well, it's definitely going to be better than what we just watched.
Yeah, but yeah, we should look at some other better Lovecraft stories. Re-Animator isn't exactly a faithful adaptation of the Re-Animator Lovecraft story, but it's still way more fucking fun to watch than this is. And I bet we could probably you can probably find that somewhere.
I'm sure. And hell, it might be in that collection of stuff you sent me.
And if not, like, it's that's worth actually buying. Like if you had to buy that somewhere, like that wouldn't be the worst thing you ever did with your life.
Yeah, but Matt, it's me. I'm probably not going to watch it a second
You will fucking watch it all the times that I tell you to watch it.
Yeah, that's actually probably true.
And the sequel, Bride of Re-Animator, and then the latter-day sequel, Beyond Re-Animator.
I really preferred if it was going to be Bride of the Re-Animator, the Latter-day Saints.
Bride is really fun. It's in many ways kind of garbage, but it's so much fun. It's really, really fun.
I don't know.
And it has all the dialogue. So good. It's one of the most quotable movies I have ever seen. And for someone, who loves Jeffrey Combs, it's like, it doesn't really get better than Bride of Re-Animator. He is very lovingly showcased throughout that movie.
All right. Well, I think that we should consider some Jeffrey Combs games here. And I still like the idea of the Frighteners just because I only did see it that one time and literally remember nothing other than and here's my nips I cut off. That's all I got out of it. And I believe that there's some numbers that show up on people that might be the order that they're killed or some garbage.
It might be.
I was at the drive-in. I was running around and playing and not watching the movie that much. So when did that movie come out?
I'm trying to think.
Was I 10? Was that 1992?
No, it's got to be later than that, because it's definitely later than Dead Alive, and I saw Dead Alive in a theater
96.
in the summer of 1993.
Yeah, so this was just before I turned 14.
Okay.
So I guess
Yeah,
I was probably trying to meet
Yeah,
cool
it's like
chicks or something and failing.
It's a terrific Michael J. Fox movie. It's got a cool supporting cast. Shai McBride and John Astin are like his ghost pals. And yeah, you got the mom from E.T. in there. You got Jake Busey. I mean, anytime you got Jake Busey, there's going to be some sort of psycho in the movie.
It's a party.
When does he not play a psycho?
SFW?
I don't remember that well enough. I feel like there is something I saw recently where he actually wasn't a psycho, and I was really surprised by it. Like, it fooled me. Like, it tricked me into thinking that he was going to be the bad guy because he's Jake Busey.
See, the plus about me suggesting SFW is
he is, however, in Nazis at the Center of the Earth, which is not it's as good as you're imagining. Yeah, he's got a featured role in that. That might be a good double feature with the sequel to Iron Sky. You remember Iron Sky?
Loved it. Nazis in space.
Yeah. Did you see the second one?
No.
That's got a whole Nazis at the Center of the Earth subplot too. Yeah. It's actually maybe arguably less extreme than the Jake Busey one. They're both kind of nasty.
Some good stuff.
I'm sure Lovecraft would have been pleased to see Hitler survive.
It's entirely possible. But hey, he died before Hitler times even.
Yeah, he never got to know that joy. He never got to root for Hitler. Which would have been fun. I imagine, he would have had some interesting fiction distilled from that experience.
Oh God. With the way that the United States was going at that time with all the Hitler youth camps and everything, he might have been down. He might have honestly been a guy who was pro-Hitler in the United States.
It would have been interesting to see. And like that could have perhaps been a bit of a sticking point between him and his literary pals as well. I don't know how that might have developed.
I don't think
Um,
I've ever said it about a human being before, but I think it's probably better that he went away at the time that he did. Because I don't think that anything that would have happened beyond there necessarily would have
no,
turned
no.
out okay.
There's certainly, if nothing else, there's a good chance that the fiction that he wrote prior would have been so tainted by his later involvements that we would be unable to enjoy it on any level just because of who the author was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's even
Which
some
and I
naughty Dr. Seuss stuff out there.
right, I know he's a piece of shit, and I know that, like, if I'm enjoying a Lovecraft story, I'm enjoying it like actively in spite of the fact that he's a piece of shit. Like, I have to make that conscious decision on some level, and I'm okay with it. And I think, honestly, like, a lot of the time, just making that acknowledgement is good enough, and it's just because he's a piece of shit doesn't mean that everything he ever did has to mean nothing or be destroyed. It's the public domain. Like, we can all enjoy it. We can all profit from it. They can do shit like that HBO series Lovecraft Country, which is like super steeped in race issues and makes an active point of kind of examining some of what he did in a new perspective, and it was actually like really fucking good. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's a great way to recontextualize some of Lovecraft's ideas.
You said Lovecraft Country, and immediately my brain thought, if I knew more country music, I could start making parodies of country songs that are Lovecraftian, and that might be really good.
I would listen to those. I would definitely listen to those parodies. I don't know what they would be, but I look forward to hearing your work, sir.
I don't know yet, but I am going to send you a song after we get off of here because it is very amusing. Uh yeah. We'll get there. We'll figure out whether or not I can do some I did make a song once. I never wrote any of it down, so I only have what's left in my head. But it was a parody of oh Jesus, it's just like before we started recording this, and I can't remember what I was talking
Hot
about.
Mike Ted.
Man. All right.
Welcome.
I got it. I never meant to kill so many Jews. I was an artist, I was painting Deutsche Hund. And then one day I shaved this mustache on my face. Proclaim myself the leader of the master race. It was a Third Reich moment. It kind of went to my head. It was a Third Reich moment. Now all those Jews are dead.
Nice.
And you know what? It's the worst goddamn thing ever. But sometimes you just you got a thing buzzing in your head, and you just got to embrace making something so unacceptable,
Yeah,
and yet so funny.
I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but
you know what though? It's catchy.
I'm sure there's a place for it.
I never meant to kill. It's everything about it is wrong. But you know what?
I
You're
feel
laughing.
like maybe he did mean to kill so many Jews, though.
He did.
I think that there's a chance that the speaker of the verse in your song is not a totally reliable narrator.
Matt, he never got to make the apology that I made. Just like Mormons,
it's a good thing that you're here to deliver it for him.
Just like Mormons who are converting people from the dead and marrying them off to folks so that they can have their heaven in the afterlife. I am helping him say that he's sorry now. this is never going to actually go on our podcast whenever it gets aired.
Welcome back to Sorry on Behalf of Hitler with your host, Ted Fagan.
It was the Third Reich
He-
moment.
He never meant to kill so many Jews.
And it went to his head.
He was thinking like 2-3 million tops.
Not as
yeah,
many.
it just like it got a little out of hand. You know how like
It was a Third Reich moment.
it's like 9:30. You know you got work in the morning. You're gonna be going to bed soon, but you open the family size bag of Doritos. And you're like, I'm just gonna have like
6 or
4 of
7.
these. And then it's like 8 or 9. And it's like, well, I mean, I could stop, but I'm gonna have to like drink a bunch of water and brush my teeth.
I've got a whole case of these on the train.
I've already got this fucking orange shit all over my hands. Like, I'm in it now. I might as well just keep going. And then before you know it, you've got that fucking orange powder all the way up to your elbows, and you're standing there in your kitchen surrounded by 6 million dead Jews.
It's just the way it went.
I just never meant for this to happen.
Yeah. I had such great plans. I was an artist.
Poor guy. He's Lovecrafty. He's just my type.
Now that's a whole nother song. Lovecrafty. He's just my type. But now, Matt, when I make that song, as I inevitably must, it's going to be about Hitler being Lovecrafty.
Maybe I'll write my own version. And then we can have a battle of the bands.
We will have
just
a rap
like
battle.
Gem and the Holograms versus the Misfits.
Oh God. Lovecrafty.
I haven't listened to that album in a long time. I bet I would enjoy that again.
I honestly, I don't even know how long it's been since I've listened to any of that.
I mean, I know it's been way more recently than this, but anytime it comes up, I have like a distinct memory of playing songs from that album on the jukebox of that pizza place that was like behind Safeway in Coos Bay. I don't remember.
It was a Pietro's.
It was like 9 different things.
Oh.
And I think it was, I think Pietro's is probably what it was when I was playing songs on that jukebox. It was also whatever it was 11 years ago. We had the reception dinner for my 20-year high school reunion there. And then last year we didn't because it was closed.
There you go.
Nothing now. But yes, I remember playing Beastie Boys there and drinking root beer with Pebble Ice.
Gotta love it.
In those glasses with like the wavy sides.
Yeah, they're blue usually.
You know the ones I mean?
Sometimes red.
Like pizza parlors and grandmas have them.
Well, our grandma had those things because she got them from her work.
Yeah, I assume that she just stole them.
Creatively
gunpoint.
Borrowed.
She probably
generally kept
waved her gun around and said, "Give me the fucking glasses."
I don't think she quite went that over the top, but did you know that she did used to carry 2 guns with her in her aprons all the time? Did you know that only one of those guns has ever been located and no one knows what happened to the second gun?
That doesn't shock me that much.
Did you know that one of those guns, when Grandpa Don was selling that house and moving out, he put in the United States Postal Service mail and mailed it to our mother across the state, and it made it there?
Wow.
And then she gave it to me, so I have one of them.
Huh.
And I took Ian out shooting one day because what the fuck are we gonna, why not? Let's go shoot this old grandma gun. And it's tiny. Like, the gun itself only goes like that far down my hand.
Nice. That's
Because
the kind I need.
it's a teeny little 25 caliber silver with like a pearl grip on it. It's such a cute, silly little toy looking gun that shoots 25 caliber rounds, and it's so fucking loud because it's like a tiny little gun with a barrel. The barrel itself is only like inch and a half, and the bullet is half of that barrel. So it's like it comes out, it's like, oh, it's huge, noisy, and like the ability to like aim with it. I'm so happy when I can hit something like 90 feet away from me, because it's like that takes some serious skill to hit something 90 feet away from you. It's basically only good for like rub it up against the person and pull the trigger if I'm trying to kill somebody with it. But it was hilarious when I was going out with Ian with that gun and being like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. He's like, I've never actually shot a semi-automatic handgun before. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, no, I've never shot one. It's like, oh well, beware of the slide. You need to be careful because that's gonna come back and it's gonna bite your hand. It's gonna hurt. So you need to make sure that it's up high enough that it won't come and hit your skin.
Sort of remember that.
What's that?
I sort of remember that. I haven't shot anything in a super long time. I think the last time I shot anything was with Bob Bauer. I think it's the last time I shot anything.
I haven't seen Bob since both of his children were alive.
Well, how long has that been?
Adam died when I was 17 or 18.
Really? That sounds sort of familiar.
Yeah.
I associate Bob Bauer with like that one time we shot guns and also like homemade teriyaki marinade.
I mostly remember hanging out with them on a joint birthday party for Adam and I think Nora. And Bob, if I remember correctly from what our mother told us, had taken those Hot Wheels cars that kids get in and drive, the little battery operated ones.
Yeah.
And yanked out the motor system in it and replaced 2 of those little plastic cars motors with lawnmower engines that were gas powered. And then we went and tooled around their property to go find all of the birthday presents that he had hidden. And some of them were like upwards of 20 some odd feet up a tree. And so we just fucking drove around and collected presents. And it was cool as hell. I have no idea if they were gas powered or if I was just told that. I was 6.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The validity of what I have just explained? I don't know. I don't know how much holds water.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Who's gonna check your work?
Well, I don't think that there's any way of checking that now. I don't know the girl's name. Adam's gone. Ian was the only other one there, and I don't even know if Bob exists anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like we were friends on Facebook at some point, but I don't even know if he posts on Facebook. So
right,
yeah, like who knows? Like that may have been a really long time ago. Yeah. I don't know.
What can you do?
Yeah, Ian's not going to be there to tell you anything. So
not anytime soon, anyhow. Unless we can try and figure out how time works, and maybe not linearly.
I finished that. I'll have to send pictures. I finished structuring the over the box ghost costume. I still need to like do something to crisp up the edges a little bit, and then I have to make the ghost eyes. But yeah, it looks pretty. It looks pretty silly. I mean, like you would expect.
As it should be. It should be quite entertaining.
It's yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it looks. I mean, it looks like someone put a lot more work into it than most ghost costumes. Since I didn't just throw a sheet over it. It's actually fitted, which is somehow more absurd.
I like it. I mean, ultimately, I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm gonna get a pillowcase and do this. Maybe I should ask Matt if he wants to do it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like maybe there's a way to do like, because I haven't picked which side is the face side yet, and like maybe there's a way to do like if I could attach like a white felt circle to it, and then maybe I could put like a couple of different expressive like black ghost eyes that you could interchange like Mr. Potato Heads. So like you could have like popping like sort of surprised looking ghost eyes, or like skeptical ghost eyes.
Or like the robots that feed everybody to the Sharkticons on Junkion. Like
Or
how they
the
just twist their head. You can turn it
Oh
to
yeah,
have four
yeah.
different faces on the same
Well, there's the
costume.
big disembodied spooky eyes from the beginning of that Scooby-Doo cartoon, where you see like the three different shapes of spooky eyes come up on the screen before it goes all spirally and weird.
Yep. I like it.
Anyways, it's just a blank sort of four-sided thing right now with potential.
It's a good time.
So yeah, we'll see. It's yeah, the edge is I need to like I had to end up like sort of having to paint some fabric glue so that I could trim it and make it crisp, because it was unraveling a little. It's the same cloth that you would it's the cloth that I bought when I was making the scarf for my Shannon costume.
Yep.
So it's basically like hotel dining hall tablecloth is what I would describe it as.
I understand what this means.
So yeah, and it's like, which I've never cut up for most reasons. But yeah, it doesn't hold its shape very well. You have to definitely like stop it from raveling.
That's also
It's
fun.
some apparently they weren't intending it to be used for urn ghost costumes. I don't know why they didn't foresee that.
You know, people really should pay attention to the possibilities.
Yeah, it's really short-sighted, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get my urn ghost costume business off the ground if I can't find better suppliers to make.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you're finding your calling.
Out of a weird curiosity, I started searching around Etsy to see if there was anyone who was doing anything remotely like cloth paper doll costumes for memorial boxes, and I didn't find anything.
No, I think that this is strictly something that you, I, and Emily have worked on. It's the delightful morbidity of it. And you know, at least one of the people at my work I've shown it to, the one that I know has the same kind of morbid entertainment.
Right.
And knowing that here is what we have, what must now we do? He gets it. He thinks it's fucking great what you've been doing.
I feel like there's definitely some other people who would appreciate it. I don't, if I were to take it out into the world, I'm not sure exactly how I would approach that yet. But it was interesting to see that it seems to be a gap in the market, shall we say.
Yeah. See a need, fill a need.
So yeah, I would be willing to explore the possibility of whether other people might be interested in that service.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm enjoying this little exploration of design elements, and yeah, it's an interesting project.
It is good. You know,
it'll be very spooky.
We can't play with Ian in other ways now, so we have to play with Ian how we can.
Exactly. We're working within the limitations.
Exactly. And I think, for one, that we're doing incredibly well.
Well, I mean, we could have tracked down ancient tomes of evil wisdom and used them to try to resurrect our brother in horrifying ways that utilize ancient magics from outside of space and time.
Don't think I've stopped on that endeavor.
Yeah, and I mean that's we could have done that. And so far, we have chosen this route instead. I mean, I don't think we're necessarily closing off any doors. We're perhaps propping them open or utilizing sacred geometry to contact what lies beyond those doors. But for the moment, you know, just a shirt's fine.
For the moment, Ian remains deceased and
Exactly.
well-dressed.
Exactly. That's the one thing we can say for sure. Is right now, as we're recording this, and at no other time, Ian remains deceased.
But check back in next episode of Depot Devoid to see if that has changed.
I mean, I don't know what we're doing, but if it's a Re-Animator, who the fuck knows?
Halfway there. We gotta
All right,
go.
Well, we'll see you next time. Maybe just the two of us. Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe something lurking on the doorstep.
All right. I love you, Matt.
I love you too, Ted. We gave him life.
Eternal.
To life immortal.
Hi, Matt here. Before we sign off today, I just wanted to say I actually wrote my Lovecrafty song to the tune of the Beastie Boys' She's Crafty. I don't know about Ted, I feel like he's fallen behind. Maybe he can catch up and add it to another episode later on, but for now, Lovecrafty. Well, this pale boy from Providence is looking out of place with his books and vest and glasses and his stupid horsey face. I told him I was down to help him pull some fine sisters, but all he wanted was to stare down into Stygian vistas. He said, in the empty spaces in between the blackest stars are the eldritch winged behemoths from Yuggoth with their jars. When I asked him how a brain could live with nobody to pet it, he sniffed and said, "You're just a mongrel and I knew you wouldn't get it." We went off to the mountains where I thought he might have liked it, but he stared off at a distant point and said he's gonna hike it. He could hear a nameless, loathsome voice that whispered in his head and tore at him like tentacles and filled his mind with dread. So he set off in the snow. I said, "Yo, H, take my toboggan." But that Rhode Island bitch is all, "Yeah, Cthulhu for toggin'." He's Lovecrafty, he'll drive you mad. Lovecrafty, his prose is bad. Lovecrafty, looks underripe. Lovecrafty, he's just my type. Well, you should have heard him talking about the ancient thing he found, encyclopean cities like a mile underground, and the vast squamous bodies that defied comprehension, and other charnel stuff too unmentionable to mention. He said it was demoniac and blasphemous and weird, like a gibbering thesaurus, but he couldn't grow a beard. So I dragged him back to Innsmouth where he lives with his two aunties, but they always have a fishy smell that isn't from their panties. He's Lovecrafty, Cthulhu's dad. Lovecrafty, a Dunwich lad. Lovecrafty, Miskatonic hype. Lovecrafty, he's just my type. The Depot Devoid is that place your mind goes when you've lost your train of thought, but you haven't found a new one. The Depot Devoid podcast is hosted by Matt Fagan and Ted Fagan. Depot Devoid is not hosted by Ian Fagan, because he died, and we miss him. Find our full video episodes at Depot Devoid Podcast on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Depot Devoid Podcast on Blue Sky, and for now, still on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can email us at depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can listen to the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms.